that there would be a way that is monitored, the way that is reported, and to say that there is actually portals that are available, the NTB portals that are there to be utilized. I hope such information will be shared as well so that the business women can utilize such portals. And particularly in Botswana, we have the trade portal under BITC, where there's a section where they can utilize for them to report their non-tariff barriers. And we do also, I understand, under SADC have such an arrangement. And again, for bigger markets such as the AfCFTA, which unfortunately most of our African countries have not yet ratified, there is actually a portal which we as BEMA are facilitators, or we are the focal point to ensure that the traders from Botswana, their queries are escalated to be ensured to be addressed. So there is actually tools out there that can help women for them to escalate such. And sometimes it's very important. I think this is very timely, Shipra, that we get to understand that certain experiences that are what, because sometimes you would experience something you don't know whether that is a legitimate concern that you have and how you can define it. So I think we must thank you very much for arranging this, because now we'll get to know that when I go through this, when I'm here, this is actually a problem that can be resolved. It's a problem that is an experience that is unfair. It's an experience that a trader should not go through. So I think it's very exciting, and I do hope that we'll have many other engagements to ensure that we do have our women actually getting into such portals and knowing how to navigate and to use such portals. And again, it's like the presentation was said earlier, the presenter was saying, government plays a very big role in this. At some point, I remember 2 years ago, we had queries with one of our neighboring countries. And queries, of course, NTB queries, we had those, and we had reported them through the SADC portal, if I'm not mistaken, or SADC portal. And such were picked and were actually making part of discussions during the bilateral meetings between Botswana and that particular country. So again, this is where now I would like to encourage women in business to also make sure that you are part of a particular group of, advocacy group that would assist you understand the issues that you go through, and again, escalate such issues such as the NTB so that they are addressed. So thank you very much. I think I covered a lot of things even when I was not using the PowerPoint. So thank you very much. I look forward, Shifra. I don't know if my time is up, but I look forward to understanding exactly so that we can exchange with the ladies and discuss what exactly are their NTB experiences or what they are going through within their companies. This could actually help us escalate such to where they need to be attended to. So thank you very, very much.
Experiencing out there, but we want to hear from you. What exactly are you experiencing, so that we can help you to address those issues? Thanks. Chair, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much, Tulo, for that. I think you've touched very important points and pretty much responded to Joseph's concern or comment on that aspect. And just to add to that really there's no blame game. It's pretty much about sharing experiences and understanding what the implications are and how you can help and what they actually mean. Because sometimes you go through something and you don't know that it's something that is legitimately wrong, and you can actually report that. I mean, when you are like what Tulo has just given an example of a roadblock, you just think it's just a roadblock, but it has a lot of implications to your trading time and trading space and everything like that. It's actually something that you should not be going through as a trader. So I think those are very important points. And I want to encourage our ladies here, participants, to utilize the chat box as well. You can ask your questions through. Oh, Elizabeth, the floor is yours. You have. I see your hand up. Take the floor, Elizabeth.
Yes, good morning. I'm here. Thank you for having us. Well, for me, I know one of my biggest NTBs are unfortunately related to registration of product and things like that, because I find it's more of in Botswana, it's more of a delay getting your things through the different parastatals for registration of your products. Even just to get licensing for manufacturing has been such a roadblock for me. So I don't know, but for me as someone who's trying to register and get my product out there, it just seems like there's no communication between the parastatals. And then, so now it ends up being a thing that I have to deal with, and the consistent running around trying to get everything registered and done. There just doesn't seem to be any cohesive, a list of things that they're supposed to check off. First you do this, then you do this, then you do this. So that I know has ended up being quite frustrating, because even recently I was asked to fill out a registrability form so that they could figure out whether they're going to register me as a complementary medicine, like what the things that I've produced, as a complementary medicine or as a cosmetic. And yeah, and yet I have waited a month. And it's something simple, in my opinion. Sorry?
Sue, if I may request you to mute, please. Sorry, Elizabeth, please proceed.
Yes. So I'm finding that isn't and I haven't even received an email to say, no, there's no communication. There's nothing to say we've received your email. I've tried to follow up several times. I'm given different reasons as to why they haven't come back to me, which I feel like aren't legitimate. So it becomes, that becomes another barrier. For me personally, I think maybe it has to also do with the fact that there are no companies that are registered for production of complementary or herbal medicines within the country. So that might also be an issue, but still there's no communication, there's no way forward, it seems. So that is one of my biggest frustrations at the moment. Thank you.
Mantla,
all right, thank you very much.
Sorry to interject. If I may also just help you with a comment on the chat, can I also give you read out those?
Please. Yes.
So we have one from Mary, who said that we need to get this very important NTB information to women in the informal trader economy, such as informal cross-border traders, which obviously, Mary, is a very huge percentage in Africa. And she says that the ones that trade in low volume of goods, that has to be in a language they can understand and simplified enough for their understanding. And just to add on what Mary is saying, that recently when we had an engagement like this, there was a requirement that this information needs to also be readily available, even at the border, in a language that women can understand. So this forms a bigger part of our population. And also one from Zina, I think Haley was just supporting. Zina was saying this is a comment and a question that she agrees with Joseph, who made an important comment to say a trader must do their homework before embarking on a journey so that they are aware of any trade or NTBs that you will be faced with as you export your goods and services. So once again, I think information for them to get an understanding. I think Tula made a very important point also, Mantla, that this is where we are sharing, and Joseph seems to have a method that seems to be working in his space, which is a method that needs then to be shared so that we can find solutions together. So I'll hand over those to you, Mantla, to comment for input.
Thank you very much, Ifra. I think I will start with Elizabeth's comment on her frustrations with what I would call facilitation. This side, I'm very. I think it's something that we need to talk about, Elizabeth. Maybe I should ask you this: are you
from the discussions? It's quite clear now that the discussion to start it was very good. I think for me it was eye-opening, as much as we did not have much of the NTBs being brought to the table, but I think it's a starting point. But as a way forward, I think from my end, just to mention that as the SADC Business Council, working with GIZ and SADC Secretariat, we are in the process of, in addition to the sensitization workshops, which is one we have today, we are also targeting doing training around NTBs to build capacity around NTBs. But the training is targeted towards the national monitoring committees and the national focal persons, and also the leaders of the national business associations. But I remember in actually two workshops, one with Malawi Chamber of Commerce, we did another one with their business Botswana. There was a request to do a training workshop for their stakeholders, just to train them, just to let them know how to log into the system, what is involved, and this and that. So there was a request to do that particular type of training. So if that request is, if the same request comes from this meeting to say the participants in this meeting also want a similar training just to be acquitted in terms of how to use the platform, we would be happy as a way forward to do that training or to get them involved in that training when we have it in 2 months' time. So that's something that I'm putting on the table to say if the request from this meeting is they want to participate in that training meeting, the floor is open. You can let us know, and then we'll make sure that you are also included in the meeting. But maybe just to add on that, I want to also add participants to reach out to us as they experience NTBs. It is our role as the Business Council to ensure that their concerns are addressed from a trade perspective at a regional level. So whenever you experience a challenge, our lines are open. Get in touch with us. Let us know what your challenge is. Where we can, we are always happy to step up and try to help you to resolve the issues. Not just NTBs, but any trade challenges that you can encounter in the region. So with that being said, thank you very much, Shipra, for your guidance throughout the workshop. For organizing all these people that managed to participate today. We really appreciate it. I can only say that this is just the beginning of the relationship. We hope going forward that we can do a lot of things together with other stakeholders. And before we look, I know we still have closing remarks from SADC and GIZ, but I would like us to take a group picture just before we log off after the remarks from SADC and GIZ. Thanks. Over, Shipra.
Thank you very much, Tulo. And there is a response from the participants saying, yes, the training will really be crucial. And as somebody is saying, not in isolation, but to be trained with trade barriers so that we can create context. So there is really a requirement for that training. As you're saying, this is just the beginning and this is the first step to say, where do you log this? But I think just before we log, there's a need and to understand what needs to be logged. What is an issue? What is a challenge? Well, and also how do we log that? Thank you very much, Tulo. And I'll hand over to you, Danielle. Or should I maybe start with Alberto and then you wrap up, because I think I would like you to be last. Okay. That's Alberto, fine. Maybe can I start with you from the Secretariat, and then Danielle, you can wrap up for us.
Thank you, Shipra, and thank you everyone who participated in this workshop. I wanted to highlight some key considerations here. I heard from Manta, she mentioned something related to infrastructures as key NTBs that also hinder the trade. But also, I wanted to say that the infrastructures, of course, are the major problems to trade on, not only for the women, African business women, but for trade in general. And Secretariat is trying to look not only on the infrastructure, but also in the instruments, policies that are in place to facilitate trade. And particularly for the women's, we have developed a framework, which is SADC Simplified Trade Regime Framework. This will facilitate the trade for the small and medium scale traders within the region. It has been approved by CMT. Now we are developing manual and training material to target those interested to use those simplified and trade regimes. You see, the policy also can be NTBs if they are not addressing properly the intention of the business people. And soon, Secretariat will launch the negotiations so that member state can start implementing these instruments. That will be useful for the African business women to use this instrument to facilitate their trades. Now, I would like to thank CIPRA as a leader of African business women, Manja, SADC Business Council that in coordination with the African business women organized this workshop. We are, as a secretariat, we are available to undertake other sensitization workshop. We are working and will be working with the SADC Secretariat and GIZ for the upcoming trainings and sensitization workshop on NTBs. And I wish to all of you a very good day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And we really appreciate and grateful to the SADC Secretariat for being part of today. We know how busy you are, and we really are grateful for that. Danielle, maybe if I can hand over to you now. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Well, I can just echo what was said. I think it was a good sort of starting point for sensitization on the topic of non-tariff barriers. I think all inputs were very valuable and really provided some understanding of what non-tariff barriers are, and also maybe sort of an access point as to where should people go if they experience non-tariff barriers. And I really hope that the participants kind of have a better understanding of the landscape at this point, and also what to do in case they do face any trade barriers. And I think, as Tula said, that we always have open doors. You can contact us and write to us should you experience anything, or you can, of course, also register the non-tariff barriers directly on the system if you feel like you have all the information to do so. But otherwise, we're always happy to assist and to then also follow up on the non-tariff barrier and to convene the relevant meetings to actually address those. I'm also happy to see that there's sort of requests for further training, and I think we're already, as the others pointed out, in discussion as to what trainings we can provide and how they can be very relevant to companies and also to, of course, female entrepreneurs and women in business. So I'm quite happy that we managed to set up this workshop today, and I'm really looking forward